I'm your host, Rick J., with two very unique guests today. Metal artist Suzie Acree Rogers of Show Me Gold and Silver, Jefferson City and O'Fallon, Missouri, and watercolor artist who's gaining quite fame, shall we say, across the states. That's Mr. Gary Cadwallader of Warrensburg, Missouri. Both are recognized for their fine artworks. Well, please join me then first in welcoming artist and promoter Suzie Acree Rogers of Jefferson City, Missouri. Please tell us a little bit about you and those highlights of your life that best describe Suzie Acree Rogers, if you would.
I'd be happy to.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I was born in Jefferson City, Missouri. I've always lived around this area. This year I'll be married for 20 years. I have a 16-year-old son.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I have been a Best of Missouri juried hands artist for 12 years.
Oh, super.
I have a degree from William Woods University. And at this point, my brother, Mike Acree, and myself have two jewelry stores. One in Jefferson City, Missouri. It's called Show Me Gold and Silver at the Jefferson City Capitol Mall, and also Radiant Jewelry in O'Fallon, Missouri.
Awesome, awesome. Well, can you share with us, Ms. Rogers, how you were first inspired to become a metal artist?
Well, absolutely. I've always loved art. I love to create things. In the early 90s, I went to the Jefferson City Capitol Mall to the jeweler's workbench to get a ring repaired.
I see.
And I inquired about learning how to repair jewelry. And I mentioned I'd like to go to Paris College in Texas, and they said, oh no, you should really become an apprentice and learn hands-on. So I became an apprentice at that jewelry store, and I learned all facets of jewelry repair. And from that point on, I thought, you know, if I can fix it, I bet I can make it. So I just started designing from that point forward.
Excellent. And are those folks still in business? Still someone to look up to in this field?
No, actually, it has come full circle. Their business is no longer open, but the owner of the place that hired me over 20 years ago, she now does appraisals for my store in Jefferson City Capitol Mall.
Oh, excellent. Would you like to give our viewers her name, give her some credit?
Yes, her name's Kathy Jones.
Kathy Jones.
Mm-hmm. I worked with Richard Jones and also Keith Jones.
Super. That's awesome. Well, if I may, Suzie, call you by your first name.
Sure.
What is your favorite material to work with, and why?
Oh, my favorite material. There are so many materials to make jewelry with. I love gold. I love silver.
Don't we all?
I love, right? I love turquoise. I love faceted stones. And that's why I love what I do, because I never do the same thing twice. And if you get a chance to look on my Show Me Gold and Silver Facebook page, you'll see so many different pieces of jewelry. And I love doing it. It's not repetitive.
And yes, I have looked at your website and very impressed. Her artwork, shall we say, and as a metal artist speaks well for her. So I want to compliment you on that.
Thank you so much.
And we met, I believe, a few years ago and talked art as far as metal, the artistic things that you have done. And you are still a part of that meet and greet, shall we say, the Call to Nature's Art at the Run Center now on exhibit.
That's quite
So I
an
invite
honor.
everyone to still, before June 30th, get over to the Runge Conservation Nature Center here in Jefferson City and take a look at a beautiful piece that she's encased in glass for your viewership. Well, do you have any favorite pieces that you like to share with us that you'd like to identify and that are close to you, that are your favorites, shall we say?
Sure. I have taken silver spoons and forks and recycled them into jewelry. I've taken a spoon and made it into a guitar.
Oh,
I've done acoustic guitars, I've done electric guitars, I've done fiddles. One piece was a 14.5 carat ruby that I hand carved out of wax and I cast in 14 karat yellow gold for a client of ours. That was a fun piece to do. There's so many pieces. I've cast flower jewelry out of natural flowers that I've picked up on the side of the road.
Oh, my.
I've also hand carved flowers out of wax. I can't really say I have a favorite piece. I love them all.
I know my paintings, I become partial to everyone because they're about me and what's inside and what comes out, and that's the way it is with so many artists naturally. To just create a piece just for the fun of it, I guess, is one thing, but most of the time we have to reach in. Well, I'm just really anxious to get on the website and see if you have any new pieces, because she does do excellent work. May I ask then where the viewers may view your works? Give that website if you can. And naturally, you do take commissions on work. If you'd like to give us a way to contact you through a telephone or what have you.
Absolutely. You can see my work at McAdams Limited in Columbia. Also at Radiant Jewelry O'Fallon, which is in O'Fallon, Missouri. And then also Show Me Gold and Silver at the Jefferson City Capitol Mall. We are currently working on a website. We can be seen on Show Me Gold and Silver Facebook. We can be contacted at 573-896-5114. That's our store phone number.
Okay, super. Now we have all the scoops, so you know where to get a hold of Suzie, and naturally visit one of the sites there in O'Fallon or at the capital city here in Jefferson City, Missouri. Well, can you tell me a general idea how a piece of your work, your artwork comes together, where it begins, and is it just something comes to your mind like some paintings do to me, or do you, what triggers that imagination, what have you?
I feel like the pieces speak to me. If I have a piece of turquoise, I'll build around that piece of turquoise. If I have a piece of silver, I might hammer it, I might shape it, and it just kind of builds itself. And that's kind of the beauty of what I do.
And should we say, how long does it take for an average piece, or really a piece that you're really putting your heart and soul into? Is there any time frame that usually works for you?
All the pieces are different. If I'm doing a casting with the lost wax method, that takes easily from starting to carve the wax to the investing, the burnout, the finishing. That can take up to 18 hours. And that wouldn't include setting the stones and sizing it, you know. But every piece is different.
Well, I was thinking more like 18 days, but I guess not. So you must be really good at your techniques, what have you, different, I guess, phases of the piece that you're putting together. I guess it would depend. I see.
Well, when I say 18 hours, a lot of you can't just work straight through.
Oh, I see.
You do the carving, then you do the investing. That has to cure. The burnout alone on a lost wax casting is 4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
So there's 4 hours.
And then you have to ramp down your heat, and then that's another 2 hours. So, I mean, it is time consuming.
Time consuming.
Yeah.
Now, if someone was interested in becoming a metal artist, what words of inspiration would you want to give to them here on the show today, if you have any?
Stick to it. There's always a piece that someone's going to love. It is so rewarding to make something out of nothing. I feel like my pieces are going to be here long after I'm not. And to me, that is such a wonderful thought, you know,
Yes,
because I pour my heart and soul into each piece. And
Excellent. And that, you've heard it directly from Suzie. It's her heart and soul. Like all artists, we put a lot of time and heart, soul, and whatever we can pull in there to that mix to really complete a piece that basically, I guess, we're satisfied with, and hopefully someone, the eye of the beholder, also enjoys that piece. So that's really great to hear. Well, Ms. Acree Rogers, on behalf of JCTV, Mid-Missouri Art News, I want to thank you for sharing with us here on Mid-Missouri Art News, JCTV.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, thank you again. After the break, we meet watercolor artist Gary Cadwallader of Warrensburg, Missouri, who will surely inspire you to look deeper into his commitment to the world of art and share with you some of his most recent awards and accomplishments. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Lincoln University of Missouri will and has been hosting its annual Farmers Market Saturdays. It had begun April 21st and will end October 6, 2018. Times are from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at Dickinson's Research Facility, 1219 Chestnut Street, Jefferson City, Missouri. For more information, contact Maria Isabel Jacome.
Welcome back to JCTV's Mid-Missouri Art News. I'm your host, Rick J. As we turn now to a well-known artist in the state of Missouri, Mr. Gary Cadwallader of Warrensburg, Missouri. Welcome, Mr. Cadwallader.
Nice to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, Gary, if I may call you by your first name,
Sure.
It seems like we're old friends already by now, preparing for the show here in the past few weeks. 14 minutes is not long enough, Gary, really, in reality, to share that all that makes up your art world. So what we'll do is try to cover the highlights of those experiences and invite you back at another time. Well, I always like to start the first question off with a little bit about, if you can, share with us a little bit about Mr. Gary Cadwallader, your family, your past, and what have you.
Okay. I was born in Kansas City, and I was not what you would call the best artist in school, but my grandmother was living with us, and about age 13, she bought me a John Nagy Learn to Draw kit. You remember those?
Yes, I sure do.
One of those great Saturday mornings, he would come on, and if you could draw with a circle, a triangle, and a square, you could draw anything. Yes. Well, he must have been right, because from that start, I ended up going to UMKC, and I got an art degree. I would have been 1972.
Oh, wow.
So.
So that basically is my next question would be what really was your first inspiration, or what inspired you to become an artist? And Well, I guess I should say, well, what continues you now to continue being an artist there a few years later from that start date?
Well, okay, so I was an art major, but I did not do anything with it because I figured out I could program computers.
I see.
So there was a paycheck every 2 weeks.
Oh, that makes sense.
So I did that for about 35 years. And then it would have been 2011 that I decided to give painting a real go. I'm going to give it a real try. And by then I'd had heart attacks, stents, bypasses. I'm sure you understand where I'm coming
Yes,
from. People my age, we have all those things. And you start to think, my time is short.
Yes.
And so I really wanted to start painting. And life circumstance, I ended up, the only paint I had in the house was an unopened box of watercolors and some cheap paper. So I started with that, thinking that would be easy, and I found out that it was not easy.
It's not easy. And what year would that have been approximately?
That would have been 2011, and I remember thinking, my exact thought was, I'm going to give painting a real try. I got up, searched the house, found some paper, started painting, and I was terrible, just the worst. But June of that year, I went down to Springfield, saw Watercolor USA. It just opened my eyes.
That was your main...
That was it. It changed everything.
Excellent. And since then, I read so much now about Gary throughout the state at different events. And recently, he has been honored with a position as a board member with the Watercolor Honor Society out of Springfield. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that as board member, what you're going to be doing? And
sure.
Again, your should we say your steps that led up to such an offer, an honor?
Okay. Well, it took me a while. When I saw Watercolor USA, my first thought was, I want to show with these guys. These are great. And it took a while. It took a while. I think I was turned down the first 4 or 5 years in a row, but finally, last year I got 2 paintings in there, and one of them won an award, and that's enough to get you into the Watercolor Honor Society. And then I talked to Lauren McCracken, who needed a newsletter editor. And I've been doing the newsletter in Warrensburg for our little art group.
Yes.
And so I volunteered for that, and I'm one of the 2 new board members. The other one is a lady that I've forgotten her name, I'm sorry, but she will be putting together classes that they are going to teach in Springfield, hopefully with a top-of-the-line artist like John Salmon or something like that to come down and give workshops.
Oh, that sounds super. Now, you mentioned Lauren McCracken, which has been with the society for years. And there's another young lady that you mentioned earlier in the day.
Yes, Norma Herring.
Nora Herring. So we want to say hi to those folks and the board members and what have you. That society is very well spoken of. Mr. Larry Carver is watercolor artist, has been on the program. Jerry Thomas, Ron Furcall, and there's more to be listed. And it's such a the artwork that's coming from these individuals with this inspiration that coming from the Watercolor Society. We're hoping to get one of the individuals back on the show, along with, like I said earlier, Mr. Gary. Well, Gary, what is your favorite medium? Now, watercolor, to me, you can water it down, you can use it, what is it, antipasto or something?
Well, okay. My favorites are watercolor and acrylic. And people accuse me of making my watercolors that look like oil paint because I put it on there pretty thick.
That's what I like. I like your style. I've seen it. He's also at the Runge Conservation Nature Center. That's one of the 52 artists on display there. And when I saw his work, I do oils mainly personally, so I do like the thickness. But it still is amazing how some of the watercolor artists just seem like to mix up a little water with some color in it, and it comes out fantastic. So,
Yeah.
I like your style, and your art speaks well for you, Mr. Gary.
Thank you.
So would you like to describe some of your favorite completed projects? It seems like we all have a personal few favorites.
Sure.
Please go ahead and let us know. So we'll be bringing those up, editing them into the program
Okay.
as you speak about them.
Okay, first one I'm going to mention is called Abundance 2.
Okay.
And the reason I like that one is because it's the first one that made any real award money. You know how you get $25 or $50, maybe you get $100. Well,
Yes.
that got Best in Show at the Missouri Watercolor Society Members Show, and it was enough to buy new tires for my van.
Excellent.
And so I went out and bought them the next day before they could change their mind.
That's a good move. I guess that's like $25.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It was a good price. Plus, that made me the judge for the following year.
Oh, super.
So they paid me to be the judge and put me up in a hotel and paid all my meals, and it was a good deal.
Excellent.
Then I had an acrylic that I really liked. I called it Refuge, and it's very large. It's 48 by 60, so 4 by 5 feet. It got $700 award at the state fair plus the purchase price, so that doubled up
I
on the
do
money.
recall that piece at the
Oh,
state fair.
Thank you. That's hanging in the president's office at the State Fair Community College.
Oh, that's right. I did visit there next to the Dom Center. I
Yes.
visited. It's there, yes. I had forgotten about that. But I was there about 4 weeks ago. And
Oh, yeah, so you saw it then.
Yes, I saw it. It's a beautiful piece. Very well done, yes.
Anyway, that started a whole set of acrylics that I've been doing that I call Refuge, where you feel like you're in a protected place, looking out at the world. I had another acrylic that I really like, the Ashby Hodge Gallery of American Art.
Oh, yes.
You know, Joe
Joe
Geist, sorry.
Geist, yeah.
Yeah, and Denise Haskamp up there. They bought that for the gallery, and I call that one Before the Earth Was Flat. It's kind of play on words because I was working with very flat pieces of color and then very three-dimensional objects as well.
So your medium subject matter is varied, I noticed too, that you just don't do landscapes, you do
Yeah, I would say mostly florals,
florals, yes.
because florals give you a lot of ability to put an abstracted feel to your painting.
Well, I want to thank you once again for being part of the Call to Nature's Art there at the Run Center, JCTV, and myself sponsoring it. And your artwork is appearing at many places. We both hope to be in the top 50 at the Missouri State Fair.
Hope to.
With our pieces. Definitely admire your work recently, even at the Jefferson City Art Club art exhibit. And I do recall, I think you're also with the SVAA
Yes.
in Sedalia, Miss Rebecca Limbach and Linda
Hoover.
and Glenda Miller is part of that, and they've been with us. So is there any place right now that you'd like to promote that you're going to be at so people can come and take a look?
The biggest one will be Powell Gardens on 50 Highway there. And I'll be there with a second person. So the two of us will show August 19th through October 28th.
Super.
We will fill that place up.
Great, and I want to put that on my calendar. That's at the Powell Gardens.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a website so the folks, or email address or phone number where
Sure.
if someone would like to commission a work from you, or at least share your work?
Sure.
Can you give that to us?
Yes. My website is very simple, www.garypaints.com. And email is just gary@garypaints.com.
All right, super. Was there anything we'd like to share with us as far as an inspiration for a new artist or what have you? within the art community. Leave us with a few words of
I would say just don't ever give up. I mean, if an old codger like me can, do some damage, certainly a young person can.
I hear you.
And just keep trying.
Well, Mr. Cadwallader, on behalf of the JCTV, Mid-Missouri Art News, which is attempting to bring together all art lovers across Missouri and the different states, through this program, I want to thank you so much for contributing to Mid-Missouri Art News, making a learning and informational experience for all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was an honor.
Thank you for our viewers taking a look. Next here on Mid-Missouri Art News is Kathleen Stroop of Jefferson City, Missouri. You've probably heard of Kathleen. And that taping is scheduled for September 19th, 2018. And next on Spotlight on the Arts, we have again invited artist Ron Ferkel back with us from Washington, Missouri. Ron will be sharing some more of his fantastic art pieces and art secrets he promises to share with us. That taping is scheduled for next month, July the 11th. Thank you, JCTV producer Gloria Enlow, beg your pardon, and the crew, and thank you, our viewers, for watching. Look for more Mid-Missouri Art News right here on JCTV, and don't forget YouTube. I'm Rick J. saying, see you next time.